Welcome back to the Angel Clark Show on RadioFreedom.us, freedom from the FCC. Now, I have on the line with me Jordon Greene. Jordon Greene is one of the Liberty candidates, and he's running for North Carolina's State House of Representatives, District 87. Jordon, thank you for joining us this evening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
Now, I'll be honest with you, we're having a little bit of issues with our audio tonight, which is unfortunate. But I think that we may have figured it out so that we can at least hear you. Can I get you to talk for a minute? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I'm, like you said, I'm a candidate for North Carolina House, running in the 87th House District, which covers all of Caldwell County down here in North Carolina. I am running on the platform of the free market, getting us back to not only respecting the free market in the economic realms, but in the electoral realms. Because in North Carolina, like many of the other states, we have an issue not just in the economy, but in the electoral realms where competition is kept out. So I'm running on the platform that the free market needs to be reinstituted instead of allowing government to pick the winners and losers.
Yeah, I think actually that's something that's quite important that a lot of people are just completely forgetting is this concept of how important the free market is, because here they are and they talk about regulations and you know, the government creating jobs, but that's not going to do it. What you have to do is take care of eliminating regulations and letting people do what it is that they do best. All right, we got the sound just now figured out. I'm sorry about that. It's an awkward way to start. It was very staticky, so now we're better.
That's good.
Okay, now from what I understand, you live in Beaufort. How do you pronounce that? Beaufort?
No, I was born in Beaufort, South Carolina. I live in Lenore, North Carolina.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a bachelor's degree in political science. Have you worked in politics before?
Not in the sense that a lot would think. I volunteer in politics. I have a political action committee we started back in 2008, which is working in the election reform arena. We've been moving some things around, and we've actually had some success in the last year even. And getting some legislation moved. So I've been in that realm for several years now, but all in the volunteer. I love it so much, and getting paid for it's great, but volunteering for it's more satisfying.
Yeah. Well, see, I think that a lot of people that I know don't think it's a positive thing at this point to really have been in politics, because there are very few people that I know that are involved in politics that haven't been corrupted in some way, shape, or form. I mean, so many people have just gotten to the point where they think big business and big government is the answer, and big government doesn't really promote big business. Big government just promotes an even bigger government. So it leads to a pretty vicious cycle. Now, what is it that you're running on other than a free market platform? Anything else?
Yes, I'm the issues of life, of gun rights. Those things are very important to me. When it comes to the issue of life, I believe that it is the government's responsibility to preserve life, and that even goes for the life of the unborn child. That's something that, while my opponent is similar in this stance, I don't see a lot of other representatives, including him, stepping up and actually getting to the root of the problem. And I think that's one thing that I plan on working on is we need to get to the root of the issue of abortion, of allowing it, not the peripheral issues. We need to assert states' rights and tell the federal government know that Roe v. Wade doesn't apply to North Carolina. That we have a right to decide that for ourselves and to protect that life. That's an issue that's very important to me. It's always been important to me. Other than that, there's the issue of gun rights. We need to work on a lot of our state laws that we have. North Carolina has one law in the books that allows, in the times of emergency, a declared state of emergency, that individuals are denied their right to protect themselves off their private property. They're denied the ability to carry a firearm. That's something that needs to go. So especially
especially in a state of emergency situation as well.
Exactly.
I think that's when most people would want to have their firearms with them.
Exactly. Well, it comes down, in my view, to a thing of control. It's a lot of people may not see that, but it comes down to it's the government asserting its foot, asserting its ability to control, and using fear to do that. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah. Now, who is your opponent? Is your opponent an incumbent?
Yes, ma'am. It's Representative Edgar Starnes. He's he's currently in his 9th term, so he's had 18 years under his belt.
Wow.
He's been there for a while. There's not been much competition though, so it's one of these things where, again, like with the free market and the economic realm, our laws have allowed him to sit in that seat without any competition in most every election. And so he is an establishment politician. I would say he's been there for a while. He's working to help big business keep their regulations in place. It's someone that needs to go. We need someone there who will actually defend liberty and protect their the Constitution, to actually take their oath to the Constitution seriously.
Yeah. Now, are you running is this person a Democrat or Republican? Are you running primarying him, or?
He is a Republican, and I'm going to be challenging him in the Republican primary.
Okay.
This coming May. Well, that's pending our redistricting doesn't get changed.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, that's quite interesting that you mentioned the redistricting. Are they considering redistricting your area?
Well, as it stands at this point, the district is supposed to be settled, but of course, there I believe are 2 or 3 separate lawsuits going into effect already that may very well change that. There's thought that it may be August or September instead of May now that the actual primary will take place because of those lawsuits.
Wow.
So, I mean,
but of course,
May, we have more time.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing as well. They may want to move you out of his district if you start to get a strong following, so that you won't really challenge him as much.
Yes, ma'am. They definitely don't want him challenged. I can just from getting started, I can definitely tell you that. And that very well may be a possibility in the future.
Yeah.
But we're going to do everything we can to challenge him.
Well, that's great. So you're running based on a free market and a pro-business atmosphere. Let's talk a little bit about some of the local issues that are affecting you. You say on your website you understand that government cannot create jobs. What's unemployment like in your area?
Unemployment's really bad in this area. Caldwell County was a major hub and center for furniture and manufacturing in this area. Broyhill Furniture, Kincaid Furniture, all of those were centered here. And after the regulations and other things, other federal issues as well as NAFTA and such, have allowed them to move out and left Caldwell County in really bad shape when it comes to employment. That's why I think that we need to work on the state level, since we can't really deal much with the things like NAFTA and other issues. We need to work on bringing back these regulations that we have on businesses, reducing the cost to entry into the business place, and then as well working on our tax system to lower our taxes.
Now, okay,
without
wait a
giving
minute.
Special breaks.
When you said bringing back these regulations, what you mean is scaling them back, not reinstituting.
Yes,
okay, because I was confused for a minute there. I was like, wait a minute, you want to bring back more regulations?
No. We want to reduce those regulations, take them off of the books.
Okay.
These regulations that you have to, someone in the sanitary industry or someone who is working as a barber has to get a license, or those type of things. We don't need that. Regulations need to be there whenever you have something that is direly going to affect the health and well-being of citizens. And that's the only instances I would even consider supporting any regulations, not these other industries where all it does is keep out competition.
But
that's what it does.
if you scale back some of these regulations, you may not be able to get as much in state taxes when it comes to licensing fees and things of that nature. Are you prepared to live with that?
I am. I think we need to cut back our in-state budget to compensate. We need to stop for instance, it goes along with the regulations. We need to end corporate welfare, which, in my opinion, is nothing more than state-level bailouts. Stuff like that. We need to get rid of that. We need to stop giving taxpayer dollars to private enterprise and to nonprofit organizations, and really look at our budget and see where it is that we don't have to have, or where we can cut. And things aren't going to be easy if we do cut things, these certain items, but it's not always easy. But it's right.
Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of politicians have forgotten, especially when it comes closer to election cycle. They start this cycle of introducing the easy legislation, that's feel-good legislation that makes people think that they're doing their jobs well, and then people suddenly forget about the way they voted in 2010 or even 2008 or 1997. So do you have a lot of situations where you can point to, and the person that you're running against has voted for, a big government, basically?
Well, when it comes to expanding or putting government arm into the marketplace and actually, in my opinion, hurting small business, hurting jobs, yes, he supported he has supported regulations, but he supported several corporate welfare programs. For instance, giving $40 million in cash to Goodyear Tire to help them to expand a facility. Taxpayer dollars, just giving this money to them to expand their facilities.
Because if anyone needs the help, it's Goodyear. Well, look, their commercials prove it. They come out with the worst commercials ever. I mean, that right there is proof that they need $40 million, because they need to hire someone that can do better advertising. And see, look, that hiring that person would create a job.
Exactly. One job.
It's a small price to pay for all of our tax dollars, isn't it? I mean, $40 million, one job, but also we get better commercials.
Well, and you mentioned one job there. Some other legislation he worked on passing, and back in 2009, tax breaks that special breaks to certain companies. He gave breaks to Apple Computer, which amounted to $45 million in tax breaks over 10 years to employ around 50 people.
It's crony capitalism at its finest. Crony capitalism, that's what it is. The government picking winners and losers, and it really just drives me insane. Listen, Jordon, we have a shortage of time here. We've only got about a minute left, and maybe you could give your website information, and then maybe we can have you back on further down the road when we've got a little bit more time to chat.
That'd be great. If anyone wants, if they would love to turn our website, that'd be great. It's www.greene for nchouse.com, and that's Green with an E.
Yes.
And visit that, look at my issues, and send me any questions you have. I'm more than happy to answer them.
Jordon, I really appreciate you taking the time out this evening to sit with us. It's been a pleasure chatting. Best of luck to you. We'll be following your tale and seeing what it is that goes on, because I think something that's really, really important is this concept of getting a big government proponent people out of office. But I guess we'll have to talk about that further down the road, because we're talking May 8th at this point, so we've got time. The Angel Clark Show will return in just a moment.